James Carter, an aspiring writer, moved to a quiet town in search of inspiration for his next novel. The heart of the town housed an ancient library, an imposing Gothic structure with towering bookshelves and an eerie silence that seemed almost sentient. During the day, it was a place of study and quiet whispers, but at night, it transformed into something else entirely. From his very first visit, James noticed an old man who occupied the same corner table each night at exactly 10 p.m. The man's gaunt fingers delicately flipped through the pages of a dusty tome, his sunken eyes scanning each word with an unsettling intensity. No one approached him, no one spoke to him, yet he was always there. Intrigued, James approached the librarian, Mrs. Henderson, an elderly woman with a permanent air of unease about her. When asked about the man, she stiffened and replied in a hushed tone, "You shouldn't ask about him. He's been here for a very long time." Unable to quell his curiosity, James delved into the library's archives. Hidden among forgotten records and yellowed newspaper clippings, he discovered an article from 3 decades prior, "Mysterious Death at Town Library, Man Found Dead at Reading Desk." The grainy photo accompanying the article depicted a face identical to the silent reader. James resolved to find out more. One night, he set up a hidden camera aimed at the man's usual spot and waited. As the clock struck 10, the man appeared, moving with an unnatural grace. James watched in horror as the man's reflection in the library's large window did not match his movements. Instead, it stared directly at James. Determined to break the mystery, James located the book the man was engrossed in each night. Opening it, he found pages filled with names and dates, and at the very bottom, his own name, written in fresh ink. The lights flickered, and the man whispered, "It's your turn now." The next morning, James's apartment was found abandoned, his belongings left untouched. The only clue was the open book on his desk, with one final entry, "James Carter." In the town library, deep within its labyrinthine halls, lay a room that few dared to enter. It was called the Whispering Room, a place steeped in local legend. Those who entered reported hearing disembodied whispers that spoke their deepest fears and darkest secrets. Over the years, it had become a challenge among the town's youth to see who could stay inside the longest. Sarah and her friends decided to test the legend for themselves. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they slipped into the library after hours and made their way to the forbidden room. The heavy oak door groaned as they pushed it open, revealing a space cloaked in darkness and dust. As they stepped inside, the whispers began, soft at first, then growing louder. Sarah felt something cold brush against her arm, and a sudden, suffocating dread settled in her chest. When she turned to her friends, their faces were pale, eyes wide with terror. On an old desk sat a weathered journal, its pages covered in frantic handwriting. "They see me. They know me. They won't let me leave," it read. The whispers turned into low, menacing laughter. The wall seemed to pulse, and the exit door slammed shut. Sarah frantically searched the room for a way out, knocking over a bookshelf in the process. A hidden compartment revealed a long-forgotten note, dated 1905, "To whomever finds this, leave now, while you still can. They whisper your fate." The group managed to break down the door and fled into the night. However, Sarah was never the same. She claimed to hear the whispers wherever she went, and weeks later, she vanished without a trace. A new note was found in the room, "She's with us now." Among the library's vast collection was an unassuming, leather-bound book with no title on its spine. It appeared ordinary, yet those who read it soon exhibited strange behaviors. Some vanished entirely, while others spoke of seeing shadowy figures lurking between the shelves. Mark, the head librarian, grew increasingly concerned about the book and decided to investigate. He carefully examined its pages, finding passages that seemed to recount events from his own life with chilling accuracy. As he flipped further, he found descriptions of things he had not yet experienced, but they were written as if they had already happened. Panic set in when he reached the final chapter. "The librarian realizes too late," it read. The library's lights dimmed, and an unseen presence pressed against his chest. Pages fluttered wildly, and a chilling voice whispered, "Your story ends here." Mark tried to rid himself of the book, attempting to burn it, but it refused to be destroyed. Every page he tore out would reappear intact, the ink darker than before. Eventually, Mark vanished, leaving only an open book on his desk with a new title printed across the cover, Mark's Story. Since that day, the book sits untouched on a shelf, waiting for its next reader.